Hey! And today I kind of wanted to make a different kind of video, and this is not going to be like about video or anything, but it is going to be about the difference between Americans and Norwegians, because there is actually, in a lot of fields, there are quite a big difference. And I was kind of inspired because there's a TV program which is called Alt for Norge, which means everything for Norway, which is a program about people who has relatives who has migrated from the Norway to America, and they can come back to Norway and kind of discover how the country is. And I was kind of inspired because I feel it was so like amazing to see actually how big difference is. And also I have some know some people like bits who are American, and they have talked about what they think the differences is. Also I have some experiences with meeting American people myself. I just want to make kind of difference that I feel is the biggest difference. And this is not going to be like politics, nature, blah blah blah. It's just going to be what I feel about people. And of course this is going to be like stereotypes. Some people are different. Do not be offended by anything I say. I hope people don't take this personal. It is just my opinions, and maybe you kind of feel the same. Yeah, I just thought it would be fun to make another video because I know a lot of my viewers are American. Also, if you do not live in the US, maybe you can kind of recognize some of these things even though. Okay, and the first thing I have to say is talking to strangers. I was at a cruise where there was a lot of Americans, and what surprised me a lot is that they talked to me like strangers. They didn't like talk a lot, but they would just like, "Hey, how are you?" I was like, okay, hey. Because Norwegian do not talk to strangers. We do not say hi. Maybe if we were like on a place where there's not a lot of other people, we would like smile, but we would never say hi. We would never start talking to a random person on the bus or on the street or anything. We would not talk to them. We will kind of avoid strangers as much as we can. So usually if a stranger talks to me, I would just think, okay, is something wrong with that person. No matter if he just say something like how are you or anything, I would just assume that there's something wrong with that person. And I know that some of my American friends have said it's normal for them to like, hi, how are you, like strangers, but we don't do that here. We are very kind of close towards strangers. If there's a bus and if you're alone, you will always go and pick a seat that nobody sits on. And some people, not me, but some people, even if there's no seats left that hasn't a person sitting on the side, a seat next to it, you know, with the seats at 2 and 2, the person would choose. Some people would choose standing instead. So we will really avoid strangers. And also we don't really hug people. We don't like. Yeah, we are much like more distance from each other. Like all in all, I feel like Americans, they kind of when they talk to you, they go a bit closer than a Norwegian would do. They kind of sit closer to you, and that can be uncomfortable for some Norwegians, but not all, of course. And I know not all Americans are like that. And also said it is harder to get Norwegian friends than Americans. Like that is something that my American friends told me, that they find it really hard to get friends because you have to put in some effort yourself, kind of. You have to start talking to them and find some common interest. They will not come talking to you like ever. If you're not like in school and have to sit together for some reason, they will not come talking to you for any specific reason. And also when it comes to talking, one American friend said, "You talk a lot about the weather." Yeah, we do. I also saw this in the program, and Americans were like, "Yeah, they talk about the weather." We talk about the weather a lot. Like every single day we talk about the weather with like all the people we meet or people you know. Like, I don't know why. It's like, oh, but the weather is like that and that today. Okay, that's good, that's bad. Tomorrow the weather is going to be, and how is the weather is going to be the next 2 weeks. We talk about the weather all the time, and we're very like, we always check the weather forecast all the time. I think that's because the weather changes a lot here, and we don't have a lot of good weather, like sun and stuff. So people will always like, oh my god, it's going to be sun in 2 weeks, yay, and stuff like that. So if you want to talk to Norwegian about something, you can just like say, oh, the weather is bad, huh? Or, oh, it's so, the weather is so nice today, it's sun and blah blah. Then you might get a conversation starting. Another thing, it is also have to do with the same thing, and that is asking people out on dates. It's like, will you go to the date with me? Will you go to the prom with me? We never do that. Never. I never heard about anything like asking somebody to a date. That would just be weird. People would like be talking about, oh my god, he asked her to a date. And also, there was this American guy who came up to me when I was working, and he was like, oh my god, you want to go take a coffee later? And I was like, okay, that has to be a pervert or something. Go away. Please go away. I was like totally shocked about it. Some American girls that I know he's dated in the US, people, if they see a girl that they find attractive or really cute or like for some reason, they can just go ask them for a date. I don't know if this is true. I think it sounds really weird if people do it. I don't know if it is only in the longer movies. The Americans, is that normal to like ask people you just find attractive that goes to your school or something that you never talked to? Is it normal to just ask them for a date? Is that normal? I don't know. We don't even ask anyone for a date. People never do. Maybe if they want to go on a date or just be alone with people, they would just say, hey, I want to do something, but never actually say the word date, even though maybe both of them know that it's actually a date. And other things that Americans are good at and Norwegians are bad at, it's compliments. Americans are really good at complimenting each other, I feel. Like, oh my god, your hair looks so good today, your clothing looks so good, oh my god, your skin is so great, you are so pretty, blah blah blah. We do not compliment each other a lot. We kind of, maybe if you get a new haircut, oh, have you cut your hair? And we're like, no, I haven't cut my hair myself. The hairdresser did it, blah blah. We don't like talking about these things. We don't like talking about achievements and looks, kind of. I don't know why it is, but we just don't talk about it. I think it's like for your self-esteem, maybe it's good, like Americans do, to talk to like give compliments. That can be a good thing, I think. But also, I think it can create. When I get compliments, because I'm not used to it, I get like, okay, they don't mean it, just say it to be nice. And I feel like I would also think that if I get a lot of compliments all the time, I'm just going, I'm so used to it. Like, I wouldn't really care. And I think it would be better to have like one really huge compliment and that person really meant it. Also, like talking, I feel like Americans, they are more kind of afraid of hurting others. They would like, if a person came up to you and like, oh my god, listen to this song, what do you think of it? And American was just, even though they maybe didn't like the song that much, they would say like, oh my god, really cool song, I like this song. And when the other person would just walk away and think, oh my god, that song sucked. When a Norwegian would say, okay, that song sucks, I don't want to listen to that song. Like, we are much more straightforward. So if you ever go to Norway and people are really straightforward with you, it is not to be mean, but some people are. I am one of those people who can be really straightforward. Another thing is people are kind of really in trust of others here. Maybe even more than they actually should trust. I feel like people in US are more careful with things. They always like lock their doors. They wear like pepper sprays to like not getting raped. They have guns in their house. They have they are much more careful. They have a like fence around the yard and everything. I hear people like leave their door open. Okay, it gets really weird. If you live in Oslo, which is a horrible city if you ask me, which is the capital of Norway, do not go there. Like, do not go there. It is not a good city. But if you live in other places, people do not like lock their door. People, I don't know one person who has a gun. Not even one person. I guess some people I know might have a gun. I don't know, but I do not know of one person. I have never seen a gun in my entire life. I have never seen a gun. So people are maybe less careful than they should be. Like, we don't have like guards. People, the police do not have guns with them. like people are maybe less careful than they should be because people really trust that other people do not do bad stuff, really. And so here's different. Maybe people in Norway are a bit too, they maybe should be a bit more careful, and people in the US maybe shouldn't be a bit less crazy about safety. And I have just two. Next thing is that I feel like people here are really fond of the nature. People like walking. Like almost all people I love use a lot of time hiking. My parents and like all the grown people they at least go hiking for like 2 to 3 hours every single day. Every single day. We are very like, a lot of people like bike everywhere. We go everywhere, like walk. We will or take the bus. Even though I have a car, a lot of times if it isn't like a long, if it takes me 30 minutes walking, I would just walk. If it takes me 30 minutes biking, I would just bike. If it's not snowing like that way and like people are dying on the roads, I maybe drive. But people here are, I think they're nature-ish, I guess. They like the nature more. If they're going to exercise, they would rather go for a hike than going to the gym. Okay, maybe this sounds really negative towards Americans. It is not meant like that. Also, like walking just for walking is something we do. Not like walking for going somewhere. We're just going to walk and then we're going to walk back. And also I found the difference in when I was in Vietnam. There was like, why are you going to walk? What's the thing about that? So I think that a lot of difference, like this is also something I think that is also in Asia and maybe some other places, but just walking for walking. Not for health, not for anything really, just for walking because we like it. And the last thing is celebrating. Americans, they're like known for having like really big celebrations for everything. Like when you're having a celebration, they're like crazy decorations, really awesome decorations. Christmas, all of their house are decorated in lights, and maybe this is just in movies, I don't know. But I know a girl who, she goes to US every Halloween because there's a lot of decorations everywhere and it's just crazy and it's so cool. And like Christmas and Valentine and everything is just crazy. We celebrate less everything actually. People do not like decorate for Halloween at all. We do not celebrate Valentine's. Some people decorate a bit, like one lighting outside their house at Christmas, and people who really decorate the house, like I've seen a lot of American people do, they will like get in the paper. Okay, and maybe this kind of sounds, I don't know if this sounds like a negative towards Americans. I hope it doesn't, because I do not mean to hurt anybody, or I hope you can take it with some humor. I know that maybe most people are, not all people are like this. This is just my impression of things. If you have an impression about differences between Norway and Americans, please tell me. Or maybe Europe and Americans, because maybe you don't know where Norway is. I don't know, like difference between Europe and America. If you have anything like to comment about that, you can tell me, because I think it is so cool to like seeing difference. I like seeing difference. If everything were like the same, it would be just really boring. Yeah. And if you haven't met a Norwegian, what do you think of them? Did you think they were really weird? Were they nice to you? Yeah. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye bye.